Hi guys, my name is Akil Hunt and I'm a graduate from Nottingham Trent University.
Hi, I'm Georgina and I'm also a graduate from Nottingham Trent University.
Hi, I'm Dee and I'm also a law graduate from Nottingham Trent University. I'm currently working in sales.
Hi, I'm Nadia. I'm a graduate from Queen Mary University of London and I work at a think tank.
So, to give everyone a bit of a background about why we're here and what the foundation of what we're doing is, Akil and I co-founded a society whilst we were doing our undergrad at Nottingham Trent University. It was called the New Black Society and it was all about pushing social mobility and helping individuals to overcome adversity. And we held numerous different events on different areas, and so now we've finished university, we wanted to think of a way that we can continue to push that idea, hence why we're all here today.
And the way we thought we could push it was by making panel discussions on things we think people from less privileged or BME backgrounds would find challenging progressing through university and beyond. So today we are going to be talking about the transition from university to working environment. Now, first thing we really want to talk about is from the time of university, how do we feel the best way was for us to find a role suitable for ourselves? Because obviously the job market isn't as easy to get into as it may have been a long time ago. But I think, maybe just give some insight into how did you find that process and what do you think helped you?
I found a suitable role by turning down one that I thought was suitable wasn't. So I did my degree in architectural technology. I did it for 4 years. I did a placement year and I loved it up until a certain point. And then as I was looking towards graduating, got offered a job in architecture in Nottingham and was 100% going to take it. And so I realised it really wasn't what I wanted to do, and it took me getting offered that job and me contemplating staying in Nottingham and doing that job for me to realise that this really wasn't my future and it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. So I turned it down and completely, totally panicked because I had no job and I was being a total idiot and I turned this job down. And then I started thinking about what my transferable skills were, because it's kind of, after you've done 4 years of a degree and after you've done 4 years of thinking you're going to be something and then that's not the case anymore, it's really difficult to kind of think about what your future's going to look like anymore, because you kind of had this dream for so long. So I started thinking about what my best attributes were, the best parts of my education that I could take forward without including architectural technology, and decided to apply for a role to be a team assistant, because all the things that I consider myself really good at, like my timekeeping, my organisation, my enthusiasm, my ability to pick up things quickly, it all kind of translates into that role. And now I've got my absolute dream job that I didn't know was my dream job until I started it. So for me it was about turning down opportunities that actually looked right on paper but really weren't.
That's a true point.
Oh, okay. Well, so your question was, how do you adapt after uni? I think for me I've been on a bit of a learning curve and I'm still on that learning curve, I have to say. So after I graduated, I did a 6-month internship in Austria, in Vienna. And that was lots of fun. I got to get a lot of cross-cultural awareness and really developed my cultural skills to open myself up to other people from around the world. So that was really cool. But whilst I was there, I noticed that I really enjoy that sort of intellectual rigor that you get from university. And I realized that in a lot of entry-level jobs, especially internships, you won't necessarily get that. So for me, I had to make a decision about how I was going to, find the role that would allow me to think and, give my ideas and, develop something great out of them, but also manage my expectations, because I feel like university doesn't set you up to do that, because you're in this amazing bubble where you want to do something, well, do it. You want to set up a society, or okay, you've done that, and me and you, we were on the Parliamentals program, and they just make you feel like you can literally
do
anything. And of course, when you leave university, it's not that way. So if you're really ambitious and you have all these ideas, you have to find a way to balance it. So this is what I did. I set up a social action, a social enterprise called The Delicate Mind, which focuses on mental health within the South Asian Muslim community. Because I really enjoy looking at sort of the intersection between identity, masculinity and faith. and how that shapes mental health. So that was like the intellectual side is constantly being stimulated through that. But then I work at a think tank and I'm doing an internship there, and that's like, you know, allowing me to like gain access into how this world operates. So that's how I'm balancing sort of my ideas and expectations now, because I feel like that's the best way for me until I find the role that allows me to bring all of my skills and ideas.
I have a question, so many questions, you know, oh my word, but it's like, do you feel like you can relate to that? Do you feel anything different about finding that suitable role? Or do you feel you're still in the process of finding a suitable role?
I think for me, I'm still on the journey of finding a suitable role, because I studied, like, we both studied a law degree, and that for me, going through university, I always thought, okay, I'm gonna go into a legal role as soon as I finish uni, that's gonna be that. But it's not as simple as that, I'm sure we all know that. You know, the job market is tough, it's difficult. And so the job search after I finished university was really difficult, and so I had to kind of think, similar to yourself, how do my skills apply to something else that isn't necessarily legal related? And that kind of led me to get a role in a sales job. And even though it's completely different to law and the legal sector of things, it's also quite similar in the sense of the skills that I use. I'm meeting new people every day, I'm having to use my persuasion skills, I'm having to negotiate with people. And so I think for me it was just realising that you don't have to just focus on one route and that's that. Like, you can look at other areas and they can help you and prune you into finding that suitable role later on in life. So,
yeah, I would definitely agree with that in terms of, you know, making that transition into that role, because we all are high achievers if you're really aiming to do as well as you can when you leave university. That's my perspective anyway, and I feel like when you're so high achieving, you always want to think, oh, I want to be the best at what I'm doing right now. But then you don't really think, maybe, I feel in university, maybe not just from my perspective, maybe you guys as well, but a lot of things that we may have done at first, you might be thinking, why am I doing this? Like, is this really going to help me get to that role in the future? But then I think also, then sometimes you find something and you think, wow, this is really interesting. Like the role that we did, like this year, was like, wow, like it really is businessy, it's really commercial, and then sometimes you think, actually, I might be interested in
makes
this
you
kind
ambitious.
of
Yeah, definitely.
And like, I feel there is that challenge where you're trying to find that role where it fits your interests and your values, but at the same time, it allows you to really progress you in that professional sense. And how do you feel like, you know, getting into the role that you're into now, how do you feel you managed to navigate yourself maybe around those challenges of thinking, is it my values, is it my core, or is it going to help push me further in what I'm trying to do?
Well, that's a really good question actually, because so I ended up swapping architecture for headhunting, which is totally different and completely unrelated. Like, I can't even say that my degree even in any way like links into it at all, because you know it's buildings and people. It's totally different. But I found from the very beginning that I liked the fact that like what we do is we find people who are absolutely perfect for roles, and we negotiate and we on behalf of them and with them to try and find a way that they can, you know, do the best they can in these positions. And these people are going to be CEOs and managing directors and CFOs and things like that. Like, we're finding some really amazing people, and I feel like, yeah, like coming into that role, I knew absolutely nothing about headhunting at all, like no experience at all. And I came in and I'm in the sport, media and gaming practice, and I feel like it was a good one to start in, definitely, and I feel like I'm going to stay there for a really long time, because you know, everyone knows sport, everyone knows, you know, football clubs, that sort of thing, blah blah blah. And then like gaming was like, I don't think I've ever even touched a PlayStation, I don't even know what. So that was a big thing. And then media, and I was like, okay, I don't actually know anything about this at all. And I sat on my first day and I was just like, whoa. And it's so overwhelming, and you do wonder whether you've made a mistake, and you do wonder whether like, oh god, maybe I should have just done buildings, like this would be so much easier, I'd have to speak to people, like, which is completely not true, but it is really overwhelming. But I think coming into the role and understanding that I knew that I was right for the job, I just had to kind of go with that and just kind of go, right, I know what I'm good at. So somebody asked me to do something. In fact, no, my job as team assistant, and people were coming up to me and going, so do you do this? And I'm like, I do now, like just, and that was it. So my job description went from like this big to like this big in like 2-3 weeks, because people just kept coming to me and like, so can you do X? And I'm like, yeah, actually. And then suddenly people started trusting me with jobs that they wouldn't have before. People started coming to me and asking me how to do things better and things like that. And so for me, coming into my role, it was so new for me, and they hadn't had a team assistant before either. So it was so new to me and so new to them. It was this huge growing experience because I got to make it my own. So in terms of sort of adapting to this new environment, I very much just kind of sat down and just went, right, this is what I'm going to do, and then went with it, and it worked out really, really well, I think. Yeah, so really enjoying it, yeah.
And would you agree with that as well, like, in terms of your transition as well into your...
I would agree with that as well, because as I said, because I'm working in like a think tank startup space at the moment, it is very much what you make of it, the role. So you know, as you've said, I can really relate to that. You know, can you do this? Oh yeah, I can have a go at that, and then you kind of bring in your skills and your connections and your experience into that role to mold it, to shape like the organisation as well. So I think that's quite a good thing about the role that I'm currently in, but at the same time it's also quite slow paced because you're growing as the organisation's growing, and sometimes that's, again, it goes back to managing your own expectations about what you can really realistically achieve through such a role. So you know, you have to be quite so you have to take a few no's as well, like about some of your more ambitious ideas. But I think that's also part of learning how to navigate the workplace, which can get quite political if you get it wrong. So I think it's very important to learn this now, as when you graduate and you have your first job, than to perhaps like go through issues later on. So I would say, like when you are adapting to a role and shaping a role, you kind of pick up all these extra skills that you didn't realize you'd gain.
No, that's really interesting actually, because like you're saying, you're in a startup, so I suppose the company's growing while you're growing. I have the complete opposite experience, which is my company's been around for like decades and decades. There's like 300 of us in London, 500 in the UK, and like 1,000 worldwide. Like everyone has their own way of doing things. It's this huge organisation. And coming in, I came in at quite a point of change where they're trying to modernise and they're trying to sort of come into the 21st century a little bit more. But at the same time, there's still certain things where I'm like, I really want to do things this way, and then someone goes, we don't do that. And then it's the end of the conversation. So there's so much space within my role for like innovation at my level, but then when you try and go above and beyond that, it's that you kind of hit a bit of a wall really. So there isn't much of a scope for growing and changing, maybe in the business as much as there is in yours, just because they're so well established and they know what they're doing. There's not really any need to change.
I think it also depends on the startup as well. So if you are dealing with people who have been part of such establishments for a very long time, then they also need to get around to changing their views. So I have had very similar experiences to yourself as well, where you're like, oh, can we do this? No, we don't do that here, kind of thing. And then so it's like, I think one good thing is to, even if you like see company A is like a long, like established company, and then you have a startup, research the people behind those companies, because that will give you a very, very good idea about what you're getting yourself into. Because you might think startup, wow, it's going to be like this like fun hippie place. Not necessarily. So it's good to do your due diligence, definitely.
Yeah.